I woke up this morning with new wisdom on my mind. I know who I am. There's no need to hide. I got something to say. I'm thinking that it's time. Why? Cause I'm a young intellect. I'm a young intellect. I'm a young intellect. I'm a young intellect. Pay me my respect.
You are now tuned in to the Young Intellect podcast, an open space where opinions and experiences are welcomed. Hosted by Sam and Mafwa.
Hello everyone, I am your gracious co-host, Sam, welcoming you to our little home called the Young Intellect podcast.
Hello everyone, my name is Mafwa and I'm the other co-host and I'm excited to discuss this week's topic with you guys.
Woo-woo! Today we have a very special guest. Woo-woo-woo-woo-woo. It's a really great supporter of the show and our friend, Sydney Gibson. Welcome her to our show. She's here to help us host this wonderful episode today.
Hey, I'm Sydney. I graduated from FAMU just like Sam and Mafwa. I'm a Cancer, so.
Well, we finished welcoming Sydney, so we're going to move right along to our topic for today. So being in a relationship with other people can be quite complicated sometimes because we can have different love languages. Usually people believe how they want to be loved is similar or the same as how others want to be loved. So they tend to treat others how they themselves want to be treated and not how they should treat that person. If we don't learn each other's love languages, usually we might feel unappreciated or unloved. It's really important for us to figure out our love language, and not only for the relationships that we have with other people, but for ourselves as well. It can also allow us to figure out what is most important to us and what we respond best to. And that's why we're discussing love languages, the 5 love languages.
Mm-hmm.
So what are love languages? What is a love language?
I know there's 5 love languages.
Love languages are basically ways that help you communicate with other people and yourself as well, and it helps like create bonds with people as well. I think like it creates stronger bonds when you learn each other's love languages.
I would describe a love language as the way like you give and receive, like the way you give love and the way you want to receive love.
That's a good one. Well, the 5 love languages is like a book that was created like, I'm not sure, maybe 10 years ago, approximately that time, by Gary Chapman, and it's quite popular. Like, disclaimer, I haven't read it, but I've taken the test.
Me neither. I haven't read the book. I don't plan to read the book either.
So, I want you guys to explain the 5 love languages, or you can choose whichever one you want to explain, and the importance of love languages in general.
One of the love languages is words of affirmation. So it's basically when someone, the best way you can love someone is by telling them how beautiful they are, telling them how much you love them, like giving them your support through words.
Yep, I know one of the love languages is quality time, which was my number 1. I know they said like just basically just giving another person your undivided attention, I think it says something about like just being like a great emotional communicator as well, and just wanting to spend time with that other person.
And I guess like I would describe receiving gifts as like giving someone something special, not like buying them expensive stuff, but something that means a lot to them. Like for me, when people give me stuff that like a gift that means a lot to me, like it really shows how much they love me as a person because you really thought about this. So that's what I basically describe receiving gifts as.
And another one is acts of service. This was my number one when I took the test. And it's basically when someone helps you out. And an example is say if like I had a really long day and I had some work to do, I still had some work to do, that person will do that work for me. And like that's how I will feel appreciated. Like, oh wow, they actually did that work for me. They like serve me in a way, or like they go out their way to do something for me or with me.
I would say physical touch is like being like, that's actually my last one. I don't know if I'm like a touchy person. It's like you feel love when people touch you, maybe like through kisses, holding hands, or like just hugging, I guess embracing. Like when you feel so close to someone and like you guys are physically touching, it's like you feel the love. Maybe you feel the love transmitting from one person to another. I don't know.
Okay, so the five love languages, as we said, I'm just going to list them out: words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch.
I wanted to touch upon like things you should avoid in each of the love languages. Like what are some things that you think people should avoid in like words of affirmation or like quality time? What do you guys think?
I think that with quality time, like if I'm obviously wanting to spend time with you, don't be on your phone like that. Like just don't be distracted. I'm not saying like you just have to like have like all of your attention on me, but at least like show interest and don't be like so distracted that it's like it kind of just ruins the moment.
Yeah, I do agree with you. And also, I feel like you shouldn't make someone feel neglected. Like, don't ignore someone. If like they're next to you, don't be like, do something else and ignore them. That's kind of rude, actually.
Right. That's so rude. Mm-mm.
And like, if you're in a relationship, you should find a way to make time with that person because you're not with yourself. You're in a relationship. Obviously, people want time. If you don't give them that time, they might think like something is wrong in that relationship.
Mhm.
And I think a really important thing to not necessarily avoid, but to do with these love languages is not to do it how you want it to be done for yourself, but to do it how they want it. Don't tell them things that you want to hear. Tell them things that you know that they would like to hear. Don't spend time with them in a way that you want to spend time. Come out of your way to spend quality time with them on their basis. Give them gifts that are catered to their needs or what they like doing. Don't just buy them something because you like it and you think they will like it. And don't touch them in places that you want to touch them, but you know they might not like. Touch them how you know that they will like it. It's a given thing. That's what
Mhm.
something to do with love language.
For words of affirmation, I feel like you should avoid like being harsh when you talk to someone. Do not criticize them harshly because that probably would make them a bit self-conscious in a way. I like just be mindful to people and what you say. Words of affirmation is their number one thing. So like whatever you say will hurt them more, maybe 10 times more than what you meant. Telling somebody you look ugly, that's oh my God. And if words of
Yeah.
affirmation is my first one, I'm gonna be like, dang, I'm never gonna show my face. I'm never gonna show my face to the world again.
Hopefully your partner is not like, you're ugly today. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, because that will really hurt that, especially as you said, if their number one way of receiving love is words of affirmation, you're like, you're ugly. They're gonna be like, this person doesn't love me. So yeah, definitely be nice. At least be nice of it. Don't be mean.
Hmm.
but also like I have a question though. So like your number one is words of affirmation, but like what if they're like, hey babe, like you look good today, but they say the same thing like every day and you feel like it's not genuine though, but they still are saying they're still complimenting you.
I think like it depends on the person, to be honest. I feel like if words of affirmation was my first number one, even if they say every day, I'm still going to respond the same time. I'm like, oh, thank you. Okay. As long as you're being honest and not saying I look good and I look trash because that will hurt my feelings. You making me go out in public looking like hell
A
no
hot
from head to
mess.
toe.
Right.
After a while, I'll probably be like, yeah, you say that every day. Say something new.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie. I'll probably say that. And I think that if you are giving someone words of affirmation, don't just do the same thing. Like don't buy someone the same gift every day. You know what I'm saying? Do something else with it, you
Don't
know?
buy the same flowers. You know, they're giving the same flowers. Like I don't even like flowers like that. It's just like
Yeah,
buying the
that's
same food and candy. It's like it gets boring after a while.
that's good for don'ts on receiving gifts. I have some other don'ts. I feel like you shouldn't forget special occasions or birthdays. Because for me,
Oh
like
my god.
when people forget my birthday, I feel some type of way. I was
I
kind
do
of hurt when I didn't get
too.
happy birthday on my birthday. I was like, dang, these people don't like me. It hurt my feelings. Like I was like, I gotta like listen to music to get over it because I was I was low key hurt.
I be feeling the same way. And you know me, like I'm a Cancer, so I'm petty. So like if you don't tell me happy birthday, I'm not telling you happy birthday back. So
Same.
I need to get over that, but I don't. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from though.
Yeah, and then like I think like you shouldn't give somebody gifts like they don't like. If you know they don't like something, that's bad. That's a bad partner. If you know they don't
hmm
like something, you gifting them the thing they don't like.
Because it shows that the person's not paying attention to like what you like and like your needs and stuff like that. So yeah.
Exactly. Like I remember for like physical touch, my was like, do not touch people inappropriately. And like I want to add to it, like touching people inappropriately is a form of abuse. With physical
Yeah.
touch, don't for physical touch is abusing someone, because that can be like physical abuse with like hitting them, or like sexual assault with like
Mm-hmm.
touching them without their wants. That's something that
Right.
should definitely be avoided.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Or like just like with the physical touch, like they may like to be touched like in the house, but like not everybody likes PDA as
Mm,
well.
that's a
So
good
I
point.
think people have to take, you know,
Know where to touch that person and know what they like. So maybe they like being touched in certain places, on the back or on the arm, like touch them in those places. Don't go touch them somewhere else, so you know them they might feel uncomfortable.
mm-hmm.
Hmm. So for the fun part, we want to go to your love language results. So you have to say like the percentage that you got for each. We want to get to know you guys. Well, I want to get to know you guys, and
Okay,
how
let
to
me
like, read your love language. We might not be in romantic relationships, but I think it can be useful for friendships as well.
So my first one obviously is quality time, which ranked at 33%. My next one was words of affirmation, which was 23%. The next one was acts of service, which was 17%. And then my last two were tied. That was physical touch and receiving gifts.
What percent?
13%.
13?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So like Sydney, exactly like Sydney, my first one was quality time, which was 33%. My second one was words of affirmation, which was 27%. My third one was acts of service, which was 20%. And my fourth one was receiving gifts, which was 13%. And my last one is physical touch, which was 7%.
Okay, my first one was acts of service, which was 40.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was 40. The second was quality time, 27. The third was physical touch at 13%, and joint in last place was words of affirmation and receiving gifts, both at 10% each.
Okay, that's good. The thing about like this test for me is like it depends, because like I've taken this test probably 3 or 4 times. I don't even know. I don't remember my results. So I think it depends, maybe like on the phase of your life or your mood or where you're at the moment, that like your love language change. Maybe your love language is not permanent.
I think it's supposed to change over time too, especially like if you like grow,
Hmm.
because you learn more and you experience more. So
Maybe like you were in a relationship and you never been bought gifts before, so when someone started buying you gifts, that's what you really liked, and you're like, yes, they're buying me gifts, they love me, but they might not have been spending that much quality time with you. You might have been missing out on the quality time bit. So like you get into a new relationship now and you don't value gifts as much, like you want more quality time, so it probably changes as you experience life.
That's
yeah.
true.
So what do you think you guys' love language results say about you?
I think it says like how I would want to be treated in a relationship when I'm in a relationship, and how I should treat myself as well when I'm single or even in relationship. It's always good to treat yourself well.
Yeah, I have to like kind of tail off you. I definitely agree. I feel like we both have to, quality time is our number one. Yes, it's pretty much the same as you. How I want to be treated in a relationship, well, relationships like family, friends, partner.
Yeah, I would say the same. Quality time is definitely not one. It kind of, well, it's my second one, but it's definitely not my first one. The way I would love someone as well is also the way I want to receive love, but the way I would love someone is by like going out on my way to do something for them. For me, I don't mind not spending time with someone, but if they ever needed me to drop them somewhere, I'll be like, okay, let me do that for you. So that's how I love. It's also how I show love to people.
But like also like with the quality time, I was reading how it said like what did it say? Like just being there with somebody like physically, but like for me, quality time, I don't need to be there with you physically. It can just be like a phone call for me. Cause I like to call like Jesse and Sam. I like to call my cousins and just family and stuff like that. That's how I also like to spend quality time, just with a simple phone call.
That's true. That is
Yeah, I
true.
do that too. So I wanted to know, like, how do you think you can apply, or like, how useful is the love language in relationships?
For me, a love language is very useful in a relationship. And I say that because someone described it as basically two people speaking two different languages trying to get trying to get a message across to each other. Maybe this message is I love you, but one person is speaking English and one person is speaking Chinese. So they might not they're not going to understand each other, and that message is going to get lost if they're not speaking the same language. So speaking the same love language, learning your partner's love language in a relationship will help your connection. It will help you guys understand each other, and it'll help you actually get the message across to them that you love them, because you might actually love them, but you guys have different love languages. So it's like everything you do is kind of, they feel unappreciated, even though you're trying really hard. So to get that message of love across to them, it is important to understand their love language.
Mm.
So for me, we all know quality time is my number one, but like for physical touch is my last one. I think for me, it's just important to know how I connect with someone, how they connect with me. Like just basically what Mafa was saying. So like, since physical touch is my last one, they just have to know like, hey, like I don't like to be, I like hugs, but I don't like to be touched like that. And it's important for me to explain to them. And it's also important for them to explain to me their love languages as well. So I can know how to, make them feel comfortable as well.
I agree. What Moff was saying, I think it like helping to eliminate miscommunications, because sometimes people might think someone don't love them because they don't express a love language how they would want the love language to be expressed to them. So they might think that person don't love them. And sometimes people might think someone is too clingy because, physical touch might be their number one, or someone is greedy because, they like gifts, or
Mm-hmm.
someone is too like they're too in their feelings because words of affirmation is like their number one. It's just like, I think it eliminates miscommunication because you might misunderstood someone, and it avoids assumptions, because sometimes people like, I think on both parts eliminates assumptions, because sometimes in relationships people might like assume, yeah, he doesn't give me flowers, he don't love me, and like the whole time the other person is thinking, well, in my previous relationship, the person I was with don't like flowers, so maybe this person don't like flowers, so I'm not going to get them flowers. So I think for us to learn each other's love languages allows you to get to know that person for who they are and treat them how they would want to be treated, like Malfoy and I said earlier.
Yeah, so like I have a question. So like say if like you're going out on a date with somebody, like when would you bring up, like would you just say like, hey, like my love languages are blank blank blank, or would you just say like, hey, like how would you explain to them what you want and what you need?
I think it's like you have to like, I don't think you should do it like the first few dates y'all go into it, but I think like if you guys are planning on being in a relationship, it should be a conversation. Be like, a fun fact about me is blah
Mm-hmm.
blah blah. I don't know, like it depends on the two people and how they mesh together. Like that would tell them when to bring it up and how to bring it up.
What if they're doing something that you don't like? Should you just go ahead and tell them immediately so you could just kind of just break down those barriers so they won't continue to do things that you don't like? Say if they give you flowers and like you don't like that kind of stuff and they keep doing it, when should you just tell them? I think you should tell them immediately, like the first date.
I agree.
Like first date, like, hey, like I don't like to be touched like that, or I don't really like care for like gifts and stuff, but like just quality time and being able to talk to you.
I think it also depends on what your love language is, because like if your like main love language is receiving gifts and it's the first day and you're like, yeah, I like receiving gifts, they're like, okay, go. Honestly, it really just depends what your love language is, but definitely if they're doing something that makes you feel uncomfortable, say it right then and there. Or you could just like bring it up subtly, like go into it, like, oh, what's your love language? And they'd be like, oh, what is a love language? And you break it down and be like, mine's gifts. Like it'll make it seem like you're not that much of a, oh, give me this gift or whatever. Like it can be any time that is comfortable for you, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's best for the situation.
Oh, I would like. Did you guys watch the movie The Brothers? They put it on Netflix recently. So like the character Bill Bellamy, there was a scene with like him and his mom, and he was like, Mama, you haven't hugged me in 10 years. And you could tell like he really wanted a hug from his mom, and then he was kind of like the whole friend. So I
Mm,
also think like just knowing like how you love is very important as well, because it just affects everything. How you have that relationship with your mother is probably how you're going to treat your girlfriend and your friends and all that, and just how you just live your life.
Basically, your kids have love languages too, so learning their love languages is important so you can love them the correct way. Like as you said, the mum hadn't hugged him in 10 years, but his love language was probably touch, because like, as you said, he was the whole friend, he liked touch, I guess. You have to know your kids love languages because it will affect them as they grow up.
mhm.
Mentally and all that.
I definitely agree.
Yeah, if you don't love your kid in the love language of theirs, they might not feel like you love them, but even though you do, like they might feel like, oh, my mom don't love me, my dad doesn't love me.
Yeah, it definitely contributes to your life later on because sometimes people love language is what they didn't get as much of when they were younger. And I do think children love languages help them be more disciplined in a way and just learning, and it helps form healthy relationships and bonds with the parent because sometimes if your parents doesn't show you love with that love language, you might think your parents don't love you, and then that kind of create a strain in like the relationship with the child and the parents.
I would say like for me, like physical touch, I don't know, like I don't mind like giving hugs, and I just don't really care for it, or like receiving gifts. I
Hmm.
think also probably stems from when I was a child, because my mom, she used to like to buy me dresses, and like I'm just very, very picky on. So I feel like probably that's why receiving gifts is kind of my last one, kind of hard for me, because if someone says like, oh, like what do you want, I'm like, oh, I'm okay, like I don't really need anything.
Even if like that love language is not your main or it's like your least percentage or like something that you don't really respond to, it's still important. Like all five of your love language is important, kind of like equally. Yeah, pay attention to your number one, but also like take the other ones into consideration and like
Mhm.
actually.
Yeah, I agree, because like the reason why one might be at the bottom is because you're suppressing that. Like maybe it's like you felt uncomfortable with someone doing something one time, or like they didn't do it in the way that you like, so now you're like, no, I don't like this. But that might not be true. You might like it, but if someone did it in a different way, so it's not like, oh, they like acts of service, let me just serve them, let me not say anything nice to them, let me not like let me not spend quality time with them, do everything, but just cater to them
Right.
as they are for that person.
Yeah, some kids like doing things for their parents. And maybe like that means like they probably like people to do things for them too.
Yeah, like
Right.
some kids will be baking cakes for their parents. Some kids do that more for their parents, but some people really just, some kids like spending time with their parents, but some kids like, oh, I'll clean up for you, I'll hold this for you. Like they want to do things for you. So that's their love language. That's your kid's love language if that's what they like doing. Some kids want to buy things for their parents, like, I'm gonna buy you a house, or like, I want to buy you this, like, you like this necklace, or like, let me get you earrings or lipstick. It's like that's what kids normally say, or whatever like they get for their dads too. So it's also knowing what your kid does for someone will also, because sometimes kids do things and parents are like, stop doing that, but that's just their way of being nice and showing love to you. So let them express it the way they naturally do. Don't be like, no, don't do this, because that might suppress their love language when they get
Yeah.
older.
I was about to just say that because like when you mentioned like I'm gonna buy you this, and then some people are like, oh, you're not gonna do it when you get older. I feel like that's just like so negative, and that it's like, oh man, that changes the kids like mind without
It
them
takes
knowing, because the mind is like kind of a strong thing.
emotionally, like it just takes like an emotional toll over you, and
Mm.
people try to suppress that too, because they didn't like receive love and all that, but it really does affect you mentally. It really,
Hmm.
really does.
Mm.
And I have a question, like how would you like what advice would you give somebody to like if they want to know what their kids' love language is?
See, I really don't know how to really give advice because I don't have kids. you know. But like I hug my brother. I'm like, come here, give me a hug. Even though physical touch is my last one, I love giving my little brother a hug. I don't know. I don't really know.
Like, I don't have kids either, but I think for kids is you really just have to observe them, whatever they do more of. If you're like, give me a hug, and they're like, and they're like, no, you tell them to do something for you and they do it for you, like, and they're really happy about it. So it's just observing like them. Like you can even like run little tests on them, like, oh, do you want me to buy you this? And they're like, no, I don't want this. Do you want to spend time with me? And they're like, yes. So like, okay, they respond better to spending time. Let me do more of that. So it's just like taking the time actually to figure it out and observing them.
I definitely agree with you. Yeah, just
Yeah.
observe your child and listen to what they actually tell you. So now we're moving into using the love language for yourself.
Self-love is very important. So knowing what to do with yourself or knowing how to act with yourself is very important. So you know how to show yourself self-love, because you don't only show other people love, you show yourself love too. And knowing how you respond best to receiving love is important, so you can show yourself love in that way, so you can like really make it seem to yourself that yeah, I really love myself.
And for this particular reason, we wanted to like show some ways to practice the 5 love languages with yourself, and like we'll give example how we also practice those love languages with ourselves as well. So what are some ways that people can practice physical touch?
Going to the spa is definitely, even though someone else is touching you, you went out of your way to go there, and it's like, okay, let me show myself love by getting some physical touch, and even a skincare routine as well. So yeah,
That happened to me recently. My mom, she took me to go get a facial, and like I had to take my shirt off. I'm like, do I have to? She's like, well, I have to put the towel under you. I'm like, okay, just let me just get over it. You know what I mean? And I love that facial. I'm like, every time I go, I'm like, girl, I don't mind taking my shirt off.
I kind of like try to take care of my like face and like my hair, kind of grow it out, and like I love having soft blankets. So
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I love massages. I give myself massages, but I'm definitely gonna start going to get massages because I love them. So yeah, physical touch, that's something I'll do to like care for myself. Like, okay, a massage, boom.
Right. I should probably get a massage too. You guys are like making it sound like, I should definitely go get a massage.
The next one is practicing words of affirmation. How would you guys practice words of affirmation, or what are some ways that people can practice words of affirmation with themselves?
I would just say telling yourself that you look good, because I feel like when you look good, you feel good. I know for me, that's something that I still kind of struggle with. I'm trying my best, but I just have to tell myself I look good.
I think that's like a good first step to it. Like, like it boosts confidence when you say every day and you mean it. It builds confidence. Yeah, I think that's a good start.
And you have to mean it. You have to mean it too.
Yeah.
I would say like writing yourself love letters. Like I haven't, but maybe I should start doing that. Like that might be like, or tell yourself like the things that you love about yourself. Because I know like with writing journals, which is one thing that you can do, there's some prompts that ask you like, what are 3 things that you love about yourself? And you write about the 3 things that you love about yourself and stuff like that. And I think like writing to your young and old self might help. I know we kind of did that in one of our episodes. So yeah.
Also writing messages for as you said, for yourself to read in the future, like maybe seal it in an envelope, and when you're not feeling good, you open one and the topic, and like that's how people practice words of affirmation with themselves. I remember hearing that somewhere.
That's a good idea. That's a really good idea.
And what are some ways that you guys think you can practice quality time?
When I was going to FAMU, what I like to do, I would get paid every 2 weeks on a Friday. So what I like to do, I like to paint. I like to like watch like Law and Order or like King of Queens, something like that. Then I like to like order Chinese food. That's something that I like to do like for myself, like quality time.
That's actually really cool. Making a date, but like for yourself, like ordering food for yourself. Like, okay, I'm gonna order food, like do this, and like really just go through it and enjoy your time by yourself. that's actually really nice, spending quality time with yourself. I never really thought about it like that.
Some people said like taking themselves out. I know Sydney used to do that, and I used to be scared to
Oh
do
yeah,
it.
I forgot. I still do that. I don't know why I didn't say that. I take myself to the movies.
I
I've
used
seen
to
so
do
many.
that. And people are like, why? I'm like, it's fun. Go to the movies by yourself.
It's like people think it's so weird, but I'm like, I actually like it. And then after that, I take myself out to eat. Like, I don't see nothing wrong with that. It's quality time for yourself.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I was trying to build the courage to actually do it. I think people are really scared, and it's just like, it seems weird by society to be by yourself. There's nothing wrong with it, honestly. But yeah, I was trying to do that too. I was like, I want to go see the movies by myself. I want to see what Sydney sees. I want to see like how it feels to just be out here with nobody bothering you. You got your little self a big popcorn, or you got yourself a little juice or whatever you sneak in the movie.
Yeah, like even just going by a walk by yourself, if that's what you like, or
Yes.
like lighting candles and like just turning off the lights and playing music in your room, just like chilling, real
Have
vibe.
you been watching me or something? Because like, I do all that. I
Go
literally do all that. It makes me feel so good. Like getting you like a candle that smells good. I mean, girl, all
Yeah,
that you said, snap, snap.
I need to try that. Walking is nice, especially when you feel a little breeze. Like it really clears your head. I do recommend like if there's a like place that like has like some nice trees and you just walk and you might have your headphones on. Sometimes you don't need it, but you might have it on. Like it's good. That's a good way to
Mhm.
care for yourself.
Good music and a nice walk.
Yeah, and I would recommend like maybe writing because I love to write. Well, I used to love to write, or like even blogging, like doing a hobby, something that you like. And Sydney was like saying watching she watched her little shows. I be watching my movies, and I'm like, yeah, I feel so good, especially after I'm stressed. I'm like, oh my God, yeah, Netflix, let me just go watch you right now. And if you like to listen to music too, or even listening to your like favorite podcast, like the Young Intellect podcast.
period. Okay, so another way to practice loving yourself, the second to last way is, well, with your love language, is receiving gifts. So honestly, some people like nice things. So buying yourself good quality things, maybe like spoiling yourself one day, like you might feel lonely, be like, okay, I'm gonna go buy myself something nice to wear, some new shoes, like a new shirt. What's another way you guys think you can do to receive gifts?
That's what I kind of did. Like on my birthday, I bought myself like this perfume that I really liked. Yeah, basically just buying yourself stuff that you really like and that you'll actually use.
I feel like, buying yourself clothes, there's nothing wrong with that to make yourself feel good and trying them on and be like, oh, I look good. And you can practice words of affirmation.
Yeah, I agree. Like as Sydney said, actually buying yourself things that you will actually use. All of these are actually important because like now we're talking about buying gifts, like it's like, oh wow, it's not really just the one that you have the most, it's your biggest percentage. It's really all of them, like distributing it. Obviously you'll have one that you prefer, but doing all of these is really important.
And what are some ways that you can practice active service to yourself?
I think this might be the hardest one. Sometimes people don't really do things for themselves. It's always like for other people, for other people. But like if there's something that you need to get done, do it. I think that's one thing, like putting yourself first in a way sometimes.
I think we do it. We just don't notice that we do active service for ourselves because we might call them chores, like making the bed or like cleaning the house. Sometimes people enjoy cleaning.
That's true.
That's a good point. I never even thought of it like that.
Yeah, I think it's also the intention of it, like changing the way we look at what we do for ourselves. Like rather than like, oh, I have to make my bed, or oh, I have to clean my like bedroom. It's like make it be like, oh, I'm gonna do something for myself.
I would also say, like, even though it's not for yourself, I like volunteering, even though it's acts of service for other people. I don't know, like, just helping other people just makes me feel good. And I really do like volunteering.
And I just realized something that like honestly I just realized that your act of service to yourself can be practicing these different types of self-love. because buying yourself a gift, it can be an act of service for yourself, and creating and allowing yourself to have quality times for yourself can be one too. Saying wonderful things about yourself, like words of affirmation, can be an act of service to yourself.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of like saying it's the hardest one, because like you really do have to take the time to do it for yourself. Like buying yourself, like it feels good to buy yourself a gift, but like actually doing these things, like getting around to doing it and telling yourself nice things and meaning them, like doing it from a place of love to yourself, that can be hard. It was a very actually really interesting, funny topic. But it's actually really insightful, not just for like romantic relationships, but for you and for your kids, and even like your parents or your siblings, like just showing them love as well in a way that they want to be loved, because they are people who are in your life as well. And sometimes you don't like, but Sydney did mention it for her brother. But like sometimes we don't think about, oh, how does my sister want to be loved, or how does my brother want to be loved, how does my mom want to be loved, how does my dad want to be loved. So learning it for everyone in your lives is very important, even your friends.
So I actually really like this conversation because it wasn't just about romantic relationships, it's about like friendships and family and yourself.
So, yeah, you should learn your love language and the love language of others around you overall. Thank you for joining us on the Young Intellect podcast. We hope you enjoy the show, and tell a friend to tell a friend about us. Also, follow us on Instagram at Young Intellect Pod. Make sure you take care of yourself and your mind. And make sure you take care of your love languages as well.
Why? Cause I'm a young intellect. I'm a young intellect. I'm a young intellect.